This lesson is going to cover a meter, otherwise known as time signature. Music is divided up into measures. And when you look at a piece of music, you'll notice there are vertical lines throughout the music with notes in between them. When you count along with music, you automatically begin to count with the meter. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, or 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And you notice we always go back to 1. That counting has to do with how many beats there are in a measure. And how we determine that is the time signature. In addition, as you know, there are different kinds of notes. Different numbers of beats are one thing, and then what the beat is something else. So I could say there were 3 beats in the measure and I'm counting a quarter note as the beat, or I could say there are 3 half notes in a measure and I'm counting a half note as the beat. A lot of the time in music you may have come across up to this point, it was all in quarter notes. And usually I run into a lot of students who have only seen music in 3/4 or 4/4 time or 2/4 time. But in fact, there are many possibilities for what kind of note can get the beat and what kind of meter you can have. We're going to talk about simple time signatures first. When I say simple, it doesn't mean that they're easier. What we mean when we say simple time signatures is that the beats are divided in 2 parts. Think about when you count, a lot of times you'll say 1 and 2 and, right? That 1 and, that's the 2 parts of the beat. So let's talk about the time signature 2/4, which is possibly what I was just counting. In this time signature, I have 2 numbers. The top number tells me how many beats I have in each measure. The bottom number tells me what kind of note is a beat. So when I'm counting, I'm going to say 1, 2, 1, 2. And these things I'm counting, in this case, what kind of note are they? Quarter notes, right? Remember how the note values are kind of like fractions. Here we can consider it like a fraction. It's the bottom of the quarter, right? Okay, so if I'm in 2/4 time, I can have any combination of notes in my measure that add up to 2 quarter notes. However, I always want to show the beats. So here's an example of a measure of 2/4 time. And then we put this line here. That's called a bar line. This would also fit in a measure of 2/4 time. So with that, and so with that. At the end of our music, we always find a double bar. This is to tell us it's the end of the piece. In this case, our piece of music is only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 measures long. Notice a couple of things. First of all of these measures add up to 2 quarter notes, right? Here we have 2 quarter notes. This half note is worth 2 quarter notes. Here we have quarter rest and then 2 eighth notes. That's worth a quarter note. A dotted quarter is worth a quarter note plus an eighth note, and then we have an eighth note. This is a half rest. That's also worth 2 quarter notes. So every measure, the notes add up to 2 quarter notes. It's considered important to show where those 2 quarter notes are, and that's because musicians count while they play music. So you wouldn't want to have a measure in 2/4 that looked like this. Do you know why not? Well, I'm a musician, and if I'm looking at this and counting 1, 2, this right here only adds up to 3/4 of the first beat. Then this comes somewhere before 2, so 2 is somewhere here. Very confusing if I'm playing to figure out how to play this, because I can't easily see beats 1 and 2. This rhythm should have been written like so. Don't get lost. Let me explain. In a quarter note, we have 4 16th notes, right? Here we had 3 16th notes, so we're missing a 16th note. We took a 16th note away from this quarter note to fill out this beat. So we rewrote it like this. But this note has to last for the duration of a quarter note. So we tie the 16th note to something that's worth the rest of the 3 16th notes. If you think about it, a dotted 8th note is worth 3 16th notes. So we tie those two together, and then we have this last 16th note at the end. Now, when I sit down to play this, I can easily see 1, 2. We'll do a few more examples like this as we go. Sometimes this seems a little confusing. And for those of you who don't play an instrument, you might think, who cares? It's the right number of beats in the measure. Just remember that real musicians might be playing something you wrote, and they need to be able to see where the beats are. Okay, let's do an example in a different time signature. Let's try 3/4 time. In 3/4 time, how many beats do we have in the measure? That's right, we have 3. And what kind of a beat is it going to be? Yes, a quarter note. We're counting 3 quarter notes per measure. So let's try a few measures of 3/4. Look at that. Tell me, does it all add up right? Yes. Let's try clapping it just for fun. Okay, so I'll count 3 and then we'll begin. I'll point, but I'll tap at the same time. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Did you clap the same way I did? Good. Okay. So that's an example of 3/4 time. Just like in 2/4 time, we showed where the beats are. We could change something, and it's still in 3/4 time. Everything still adds up to 3 beats. Let's try clapping this one. Ready? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Do you have trouble with that one? A little bit trickier, especially this measure, right? Let's try again. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Did you get it right that time? Let's do it one more time, just for fun. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Got it. Good for you.